I welcome all of you to the new semester, my dear third semester students. Here I'll have to deal with two units in the Indian English Literature paper. In the first unit that I will be dealing with, I'll have to discuss essays by two legends, doyens of not only India, but if we look at it even objectively, they have been crucial signposts of the development of human mind of the 20th century and even beyond. So they are Rabindranath Tagore or Rabindranath Tagore and Sri Aurobindo. In other units, of course, in the same paper, you will read about Gandhi, which is very interesting. And in fact, as I look at it, this approximately about 12 years, so we can say a decade roughly, saw the emergence of four very important persons who gave the shape to India, which was uh, that kind of a shape to India, which was in many cases a perfect combination of the best Indian values as well as the best that is known and thought in the Western world, to borrow a phrase from Arnold. So, Tagore was the eldest of these. The people I want to name here are Rabindranath Tagore, Narendranath Datta, who later became Swami Vivekananda, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, and Sri Aurobindo. Tagore, born in the year 1861, Vivekananda 1863, 2 years junior, Mahatma Gandhi 1869, and Rishi Aurobindo 1872 was the last to die in 1950. So he died in independent India. Anyway, Tagore was the eldest, and Tagore died in the year 1941. 80 years of a life he had, and all fully productive in the modern sense, though he did not like much the idea of productivity in a very utilitarian fashion as we understand it. I also don't like it. He did things because most of the things came naturally to him. So, as he said in one of his novels, those who waste time without working, they only waste time. But those who waste time by working, they waste time also and the work also. যাহারা কাজ না করিয়া সময় নষ্ট করে তাহারা শুধু সময় নষ্ট করে, যাহারা কাজ করিয়া সময় নষ্ট করে তাহারা কাজ ও সময় দুটিই নষ্ট করে. So it's better to think a little, because all over the world all this problem, as I've been telling in one video after another, though ironically I am also doing videos, all these problems including global warming, corona, everything are the results of this over enthusiasm of the human to do something, achieve something, sky is the limit, you can go anywhere, most of which started after the industrial revolution. And finally, we turned ourselves into limbos. Even if corona had not come, there would have been cataclysmic effects of global warming very soon. So, restraint should be there. I think still I will advocate the old idea which was dear to Gandhi, Aurobindo, Rabindranath, and Vivekananda, all four. And though Gandhi and Tagore were very vocal in expressing it, simple living and high thinking. So, do not make life complicated by running after your greed, but address your needs and let the greed be intellectual, aesthetic, mental. That way we can live an eco-friendly life and a human-friendly life also. But I or you alone cannot do it. All should do it together. So on that note, this message should go, that Gandhian message, that there is enough in the world for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. Forget everyone, even one person's greed. The Upanishads tell us of those bygone days when uh, measure of wealth were cows, paddy, etc. It says that there is not enough cow or uh, paddy, etc. in the world we can satisfy the greed of one man. Because the moment you have what you want, you will find that you want more. Then you will find yourself in the same position with some others who have similar things with you. Then you want to go beyond. So this endless competition. Anyway, Tagore and all were against it. So this individual competition is, I will take a cue from here and posit Tagore's idea of nationalism against that. The essays that I would have to deal with, or rather I consider myself privileged that I'll have to discuss the essays of such great figures, especially Tagore and Aurobindo. Uh, they are in many senses critiques of nationalism as we understand it, because all nationalisms are competing nationalisms, one against the other. Anyway, but before that, let us understand the nationalist Tagore also, lest we forget that. And I would like to posit that Tagore was a nationalist as far as it worked against European nationalism, British nationalism, which was realized as colonialism at that point of time. So, right from our national anthem, the Jana Gana Mano Odhinayaka Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata, where he addresses the spirit of India, which had been running for ages, guiding people and all. There was an allegation that it was written for King George V, but Tagore himself clarified that it doesn't refer to any George V or VI, whatever. Because he was a believer, it refers to, in a way, God. Vidhata means God. Bharata Bhagya Vidha. If you read the whole poem, it will be clear. It doesn't refer to the only current moment, I mean, when the British were there. For ages, how India has been leading its citizens to progress or got through India. This is a kind of progressive progressive vision of history. In a way, if you like, you can say Lucas's vision of history. Aurobindo also shared the same. I possibly do not share that vision, history as a conscious thing, but anyway, I'm representing Tagore's idea. So, right from Jana Gana Mana to those beautiful nationalist poems like Bharat Tirtha, where he, long before our contemporaries, he indicated that India should be the pilgrimage, not our respective places of pilgrimage. For all Indians, India itself is pilgrimage. So he says, "O my mind," a free translation, "please awake in the holy land of India on the side of that ocean of this great population, great ocean of human beings India is." Those days it was 33 crores, now 130 plus, even minus Bangladesh and Pakistan, which are parts of India then. So he says, "Hemor চিত্ত পুণ্য তীর্থে জাগরে ধীরে এই ভারতের মহামানবের সাগর তীরে হেথায় দাঁড়ায়ে দুবাহু বাড়ায়ে নমি নর দেবতারে উদার ছন্দে পরমানন্দে বন্দনা করি তারে ধ্যান গম্ভীর এই যে ভূধর নদী জপমালা ধৃত প্রান্তর হেথায় নিত্য হের পবিত্র ধরিত্রীরে." So, দুবাহু বাড়ায়ে নমি নরদেবতারে, whom do you worship? The human, নরদেবতা, the God in man, human rather. Or sometimes those praises of Bengal nationalism. For those days, what we call now provincialism, that is Bengali nationalism, Assamese nationalism, and Marathi nationalism, and what we call the pan-Indian nationalism, both often work together actually. So, বাংলার মাটি বাংলার জল etc. পুণ্য হোক হে ভগবান, or secularizing the image of the Divine Mother by visualizing it as Mother Bengal. আজি বাংলাদেশের হৃদয় হতে কখন আপনি তুমি এই অপরূপ রূপে বাহির হলে জননী ওগো মা তোমায় দেখে দেখে আঁখি না ফেরে, তোমার দুয়ার আজি খুলে গেছে সোনার মন্দিরে। Like that, or even this beautiful poetic description of India, that is ranging from the Himalayas to the ocean. নীল সিন্ধু জল ধৌত চরণ তল, অনিল বিকম্পিত শ্যামল অঞ্চল, অম্বর চুম্বিত ভাল হিমাচল, শুভ্র তুষার কিরীটিনী. Or even this song against British. বিধির বাঁধন কাটবে তুমি এমন শক্তিমান, তুমি কি এমনি শক্তিমান, আমাদের ভাঙা গড়া তোমার হাতে এমনি অভিমান, তোমাদের এমনি অভিমান. Think not that you can give shape to our life. This is your pride only. We will, cut off the chains that you have enthralled us with. Or his rejection of knighthood after the Jallianwala Bagh incident. Yes, the language was polite because in those colonial days you had to be polite, and Tagore never used impolite languages, hardly ever. So that is the diff. Some people make an issue out of that. So, all these instances that I have given today is of nationalist Tagore. And you will be surprised. Though I have said most of the things in Bengali, I have translated this, and some of the things that Tagore wrote, like Nilo Sindhu Jalo, Dhauta Charano Talo, are written with all tatsam words. It's in Sanskrit. It will be mostly equally understandable by all Indo-Aryan linguistic groups if you listen carefully. Anyway, so this is the nationalist Tagore. But when we read his essays on nation, you will be surprised to know his views, and these views it is very difficult to reconcile. I will reconcile later, but let us look at the difference also. Let us appreciate the difference. So this is the greatness of a person like Tagore. In this, who surpasses possibly his other contemporaries whom I named. Though there is no measure, like how much great one is, measuring scale that one weighs 100 kg, 150 kg, etc. But intellectual approximation tells us, Tagore did not remain restricted to one domain, just as not even one genre. You'll be surprised to know when he was quite old, I think 60 above, he took to painting. He was never a painter earlier and did some such beautiful paintings which many argue started the modern painting movement in India. This is not the realistic, painting like Hogarth and all, camera realism, those things are not there, but this is more in sync with Impressionism, etc. So even he practiced medicine, homeopathy and Ayurvedic both. Now Corona pandemic is on. During those days, Tagore's life, 1861 to 1941, there was a huge pandemic called Spanish flu. By now all of you know. But Tagore prepared what we call a pachan or kada in Hindi, I think, and made all the inmates of Shantiniketan drink it, and it is said that none fell ill there from the Spanish flu. So he was very talented. There is a book on Tagore in English, The Myriad-Minded Man. Really, he was a myriad-minded man. Of course, I would say there were slips. It is not possible unless you are a god to be totally error-free. That is not the point. But then as soon as he understood that he went wrong somewhere, then he acknowledged it and moved beyond it. So this is the mark of greatness. So when Vivekananda said that you are liable to make mistake, and that makes you human, isn't it? So here Vivekananda is very modern, the approach. He says a cow doesn't make mistake because it cannot make mistake. Can a cow make mistake? No, it cannot, because there is no distinction between right and wrong in cow's world. But man can make mistake and yet go beyond. Of course, Vivekananda also had to reconcile the Eastern and Western thing, and many progressive people do not like the overarching religious rhetoric in his writings, but you also have to understand that he died only when he was 39, 1902. 3 years junior to Tagore, but died so many years earlier than Tagore. Even before Tagore was awarded Nobel Prize in 1913. So had Vivekananda had a fuller life, just as we say in case of say Marlowe. Harold Bloom, Professor Harold Bloom, has made a very interesting point in his The Western Canon that by the time of Marlowe's death, all the plays that Shakespeare had produced were in quality far inferior to what Marlowe had produced by then. You know, if he indicates that if Shakespeare also had died at that point, not that he should have lived for more years than he did. Anyway, so Bloom's argument is implying the opposite, that had Marlowe lived longer, it is possible that he may have surpassed Shakespeare. So yes, it is said that we should not talk about hypothetical situation, but this is what in English language teaching they call post method era. There is no do not this, do not that. We may hypotheticate, and science is giving us possibilities that a person may be kept alive longer than he would have had lived naturally. I think we all are beneficiaries. That is why how the world's population has crossed 600 billion or whatever. Anyway, so the points that I made today is that there is a complete gamut, a huge gamut of nationalist Tagore or patriotic Tagore, if you like. Ashish Nandi, the renowned critic, of course, he knows a lot more than I or you do. However, it's not that everything he says has to be correct. He said that there is a distinction between patriotism and nationalism, and Tagore was a patriotic, not a nationalist. But I think, with due respect to Nandi, this is at hindsight. Tagore would not have said that this is patriotism or this is nationalism, because if we look at his later poems, like, yes, earlier Banglar Mati, Banglar Jol, everything is pure, holy for him, but when we come to a later stage, দেশে দেশে মোর ঘর আছে আমি সেই ঘর লব খুঁজিয়া সেই ঘর মরি খুঁজিয়া দেশে দেশে মোর ঘর আছে আমি সেই ঘর লব জুঝিয়া, every country is my country, like that. So these stages in Tagore, very important. So this is the first background to Rabindranath Tagore, so far as the essays on nationalism are concerned. So please go through it. Today, 25th of July 2020 or 2020, as you like to call it, is your first class. I will give additional details very soon. Thank you very much.